What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be making a Whole30 breakfast casserole to help you get through your 30-day elimination challenge. Or if you're not doing Whole30, it's still a delicious, primal, keto way to start your day. I've got it right here. I've been eating it for the last 3 days and it's still good. That's what's so great about these breakfast casseroles. And to get started, we're going to first prep our veggies. And for this particular recipe, we're going to be using kale and leeks. Now, a little confession, I'd actually never cooked with a leek before, so this was new to me. And so I've got my leek. It sort of looks like a giant green onion, which in many ways it sort of is. And first we're just gonna cut off the dark leafier part, whatever you call this. And we're also gonna cut off the little hairs here. And so what you're left with is just this tube here. If there's any really brittle leaves, you'll want to take those off, maybe the outer layer. And the thing about leeks is they grow in sandy areas, so unless you wash them and clean them properly, you're going to end up with sand in your recipe, and nobody wants that. And so I'm just going to cut it in half and then chop it into about 1/4 inch slices. I'm gonna take some water and I'm going to drop them into my water, and I'm just gonna let them sit there for a few minutes, maybe move them around, let the sand settle to the bottom. And after they've been in there a few minutes, I am going to take them out of the water and put them on a plate with a paper towel to dry. And so now my leeks are ready to go. And next I'm going to take my kale. I'm just gonna wash it and rinse it. And then also, embarrassing to say, the first time I ever cooked kale, I didn't realize that you're not supposed to eat the stem. It's actually not that edible. So you're just going to kind of fold it in half and chop off the stem. And then you're just going to cut the leafy part into, like 2-inch pieces. So veggies are prepped and ready to cook. Now it's time to prep my ground turkey sausage. And I say sausage in air quotes because I couldn't find any Whole30 approved turkey sausage. So we're just going to sort of make our own using some seasonings. And so I got my ground turkey in a bowl. I'm going to add a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a teaspoon of ground sage. The sage really gives it that sausagey flavor. A 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Next, I am going to heat up my cast iron pan. Yes, I'm using cast iron because I was lambasted in a previous video for using some icky non-stick pans. So look, I've got cast iron. Once my pan is nice and hot, I'm going to add a tablespoon of avocado oil. Of course, this is the Primal Kitchen channel, so I'm using Primal Kitchen avocado oil. And once my oil's hot, I'm gonna add my sausage to the pan. I'm just gonna use a spoon to break it up into crumbles. Let it get nice and brown. Once it's nice and brown, I'm going to remove it. I'm gonna set that aside, and now it's time to cook my veggies. If you still have oil in the pan from cooking your turkey, you could just use that. I'm gonna add a little bit more oil, and I'm going to first cook my leeks. I'm gonna cook them for about 3 to 4 minutes till they're nice and tender. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and what the heck, a little bit of pepper. The salt will help the leeks break down. After those have cooked for a few minutes, I'm going to add my kale. I'm gonna cook that until it wilts down. I don't need to overcook it because it's gonna continue cooking when I bake the casserole. And so I've got my veggies cooked. I probably should have done this at the beginning, but now while I remember, I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. And then the next thing we're going to prep together before we mix it all together is gonna be the eggs. I'm going to take a whole dozen eggs. And to my eggs, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. This is gonna give the eggs a kind of cheesy flavor without there actually being any cheese or dairy in them, keeping this all Whole30. And then just a pinch of salt. I'm going to whisk that together. And so now I've got my 3 elements the turkey sausage, the cooked veggies, and the eggs all ready to go. Now I've got my baking dish. I'm just going to spray that down with a little bit of avocado oil spray. Next, I'm going to layer in the ground turkey. Next, the cooked veggies. And then finally, the whisked egg mixture. I'm gonna pour that on top. And then I'm just gonna use my wooden spoon and sort of make sure it's all mixed evenly. And now this baby is ready to go in the oven. And I anticipated this would take maybe like 35 to 40 minutes to cook, but it ended up taking probably at the very least 45 minutes, but I think I actually had it in there close to an hour. It'll probably depend on your particular oven and maybe the size of baking dish you're using, but I would aim for around 45 minutes, but just watch it until the eggs are set and then take it out, cut it into servings. As I mentioned before, breakfast casseroles keep really well in the fridge, so it's a great thing to sort of do as a meal prep maybe on Sunday, and then you've got breakfast for the whole week. Like I said before, I've been eating it the last 3 days. I'm on day 4. It's still tasting good. Let's see if this is still good to eat 4 days later. Still good. This would go really great with a side of Primal Kitchen unsweetened ketchup, also Whole30 approved. And if you want to pick up any Primal Kitchen ketchup or any other Whole30 approved Primal Kitchen condiment, you can head on over to primalkitchen.com, use the code HELLO20, and you'll get yourself 20% off. Thank you for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below if you have your own favorite breakfast casserole recipe, and I will see you next time.